Well, how do you do, buckaroos, and how the heck are you? I am Tom, the Beer Whisperer. So before I do this next video, I need to, well, I don't know if it's a disclaimer or a caveat or whatever you wish to call it. Bottom line is, I do work for this brewer. I do work for Saddlebock. I'm not a brewer. I work on the sales end of the business, but I'm going to read a little bit from their can. Arkansas Farmhouse, a true Arkansas beer brewed with grits and rice. What this can doesn't say is what I know, and I wish they would have put all the, you know, I think what a lot of folks miss when they design cans is that beer geeks like details. This is uses organic rice and grits that's locally milled. These are, you know, it seems like a small thing, but these are things that beer geeks really, really want to know. But anyway, having said that, it is, I think it says on here the ABV, or I thought it did, 9.2%. I believe the IBUs are 82. And I say I believe, because you say, Tom, you work there, you should know exactly. Well, because it does change a little bit. At one time, the website's listed at 75. I think it's currently listed at 82. But if you work in a brewery, you know that things can vary from batch to batch. So it can hover anywhere between 75 to 85. Most breweries, to be honest with you, would refer to this as a farmhouse IPA. We do not, or they do not. I say we do not because I consider myself part of the brewery. I do, even though I'm not brewing. I've only been there, well, I've been there just shy of a year and a half, but I really love it, man. So, but if part of you is thinking that whatever I'm going to say is going to be biased, I've got videos for this beer going back to 2013, I believe. Before I had any connection to this brewery at all, you will find that my opinion of this beer isn't going to waver. And the other side of that is, although I do work for this brewery, I did pay for this beer. I bought a 6-pack. Now, they do give us a discount. He gives us a half-price discount, which works to about, in some beers it's cost, some beers it actually works below cost. And this beer is actually below cost because it is a very expensive beer to brew. Because of the amount of malts and hops used in this, it is very expensive to brew. Oh, God, no, I should have given you the aromas, but I'm not doing a review, guys. I'm just having a beer with you. Oh, man. So this does have some nice farmhouse aromas, right? Floral. You might get some fruity notes. I was talking to the brewer recently. It's kind of a private guy, so I'm not going to mention his name on this particular video, but he said this is about the 5th generation of the yeast, and it's really getting to where, you know, it loves the beer at this point, you know. So the batch does change. That's the thing when you're dealing with a craft brewery is that they should be subtle differences from batch to batch, but you may get some differences from batch to batch, and that's what doing a good craft beer is like. It's not macro stuff. And quite frankly, I'm you know, I don't understand folks that want everything to taste the same way every time either. I mean, as a home cook, I can cook everything the same way every time. It's not going to taste exactly the same. There are really subtle things that you can't, you know, you can't factor in. That's going to change the taste. The same way it works with beer. So I get really baffled by folks. Oh, well, it tastes exactly the same every time, and that's a good thing. I don't know why that's a good thing, man. No, I don't want it to taste bad the second time. But I actually, the reason I buy certain craft beers is because I'm trying to find those subtle differences that may be a little bit better, maybe not, but I'm looking for them. It has that funky kind of farmhouse feel to it. It's just gorgeous. I think this is one of the best beers on the planet. And not just because I work for the brewery. I said that before. Look at my early videos. You will not find any discrepancy. Now, I'm not saying that because I work for the brewery, but it is just a darn fine beer. The owner who formulated most of the early beers in this Arkansas Farmhouse and the Dirty Blonde are the 2 flagships of the brewery. The Dirty Blonde is a very nice beer too. It's only 5%, but it is meant to be as close to a Kolsch as an American craft beer can be. He really has reverence for German styles. He's of German heritage, and he really loves German styles. So the yeast used is actually from Cologne, and I tasted the latest batch that isn't quite ready to go out, but oh man, it's going to be beautiful. And that's the thing about craft beer, is that the yeast, if you're using your own house yeast strains, they may be a little bit different. You know, they keep evolving. I don't know. Some people admire consistency, and I'm not saying consistency is necessarily a bad thing, but what I'm saying is that there's nothing wrong with making just a quality product. That's why I prefer, anyway, little mom and pop restaurants as to chains. I know that chain's going to be consistent. The food's probably going to be the same every time because they're bringing food service. They're bringing in food service ingredients. They're not really cooking at this point. They're just assembling stuff. But I go to a mom and pop place, and it may be a little bit different every time. I go to a little little local Mexican restaurant, for instance, and it's if I get there in the morning, the sauce is a certain way. If I'm there later in the evening, the sauce is a little bit different. That's what I like, and I guess I'm confused by folks that don't like that. I like homemade stuff. I like homegrown stuff, whether it's food, whether it's beer. I don't mind little changes, and I think sometimes consistency is overrated. So I don't mind that this particular beer changes a little bit from batch to batch, because quite frankly, that's one thing I look forward to. Each batch that comes out, I want to taste it, because I just want to know, man. I actually tasted a little bit of, now I got the 6-pack here, but I tasted some out of the tank before it was canned, and it's gorgeous, man. It is. It made some, I drink this beer, and I think the 9.2 is hidden well, but I've had some folks try it and say it's boozy. I personally don't think it is. I think it's just beautiful, but yeah, you can't tell it's, you can't tell it's a beer. Anyways, I digress. So there you go. Saddlebock, unbridled passion for beer. That ain't no kidding. Arkansas Farmhouse, a true Arkansas beer brewed with grits and rice. I just wish they would have put on this can that's locally milled with organic grits and rice, because I think that is a selling point that a lot of people don't know. It's just a brutally good beer. So I am Donna Beer Whisperer, BeerVangelist, prolific beer drinker, Purveyor of Wisdom, man. All around good guy.